Here we go, and it's time for the weekly podcast, and it's 10:20 on a Tuesday, and it's the second week the prospect is now open, so we're gonna have a good time. So it's a big turnout today. There's like 14 people, and everyone is happy to be out because the air is clear for the first time. We've got new rider Tyler Feist, we've got Matthew Michaels, we've got Carl, Ian, some of the big men, and we're on to the chase. So there's like lethargy going on because everyone wants to like sit back and not do any work. And I'm like, what is up with that? It's like, come on, guys, get up there and do something. You know, we're here for a workout, not just to sit in and see how, long that you can hang. We've been doing that for a while, so let's get in there and make something happen. So Matthew Michaels is always willing to go and do some work because for him, what we consider work might not be work. But at least Brandon was up the road for a while getting something started. He was waiting for us. So Matthew takes up the chase, and I'm working pretty good. We're talking like over 200 watts to get things started, and I'm seeing my wattage 400 as it looks like Ian is beginning to suffer. So Ian played it right. He saw the big wheel. He knew to get on it. Unfortunately, he was like punching above his weight, and there would have been better draft further behind. So looking back, we see Greg working hard. There's the Rio kit and new rider who has just joined us, Byron. So he'll be working for me today. Thank you. Is coming up. Nice orange shoes. So, and he's on his gravel bike. So he's really the big engine. So things are starting to form up there. There's a little bit of conversation, and we've decided that he's going to be my domestique, and life is good. So working pretty hard. Matthew at the front. I'm in third wheel. Byron's giving me a little bit of shelter, but it's a strong echelon, and maybe I'll talk a little bit more about the echelon stuff later, what we should be doing and what mistakes we actually made. But now the game is indeed afoot, and we're doing pretty well as far as organization. Fresh road, nice bike lane. The road is smooth, clear air. So I'm really pretty happy. I'm just coming off of the weekend. Had a race on Sunday, the state championships, mountain bike. It was 50 plus open. I was over my head, but hey, it was fun anyhow. So it looks like Ian had enough. Even though the draft was good, it wasn't good enough. And we're looking behind, everyone forming up, and we can see the separation starting to begin as people are letting the gap open up. So I like to be near the front on this corner. It's kind of a blind corner, but it's better to be up near the front and to be able to pick your own line, because there's some riders that just don't corner that well, and it's a good chance to get a good gap in. Oh, nice shot of the people coming through there, starting to get strung out already, and this is what Matthew brings to the table. When he comes out, he's always willing to do some work. And we can see the separation. There's three riders caught out way, way, way back there. I don't know if they're going to make it, but you can see what kind of a difference it makes if you can corner well. So it looks like people taking advantage of the lack of traffic. So we're pretty much taking up the road, but that's okay because there's nobody back there. Byron looking extremely comfortable back there, just kind of looking around. In fact, he looks like too comfortable. Takes a little drink of the water there, and I'm thinking, this guy rides like a pro. If I didn't know any better, he's probably like some like pro that came off some like domestic team, and he's out here sandbagging and just having fun with the rest of us. So Matthew's still up front, doing a lot of wattage, and if you see what I'm doing, still putting out some good wattage. And I take to the front. Like, life is good now. I'm still a little bit tired, but it looks like now Byron, my domestique, has decided to help me out, and he's getting the rotation going. So Carl going to the front, Dean coming through, Tony coming through, and it looks like the game is indeed afoot, and selections will be made. A little bit of a gap behind Joel. I see Greg coming through a little bit, and we've got... Yes, we have a selection. And Mike Wida tacking onto the back. And then the gentleman in blue, oh man, I don't remember his name. Anyway, it's a good-sized crew. And we're organized. And the people that are pretty much here are like willing to work. So I'm going to slot in behind Greg here. I probably should have let my domestique come in there and like shelter me. But like, hey, got to do some work. There's Steve. Looks like he is at his limit, not because he can't do it, but because he's under restrictions not to keep his heart rate too high. I'm certain that pains him, to have to just to let this go when physically he's more than capable of like making things happen. So it's a long way to the front. Greg pulling through. That Peloton jacket is a little bit flappy. I'm thinking it could be a little more aerodynamic. There's some watts being thrown off there. Could be a little tighter. Did Greg lose some weight, or just because look at that little parachute effect there? That's wattage right there. So I pull through. The crew's looking really good there. The big men all coming through, willing to work. Oh, and looks like nope, that's just Steve in the back, and he's actually keeping us in check, surprisingly. If he could have gotten into the draft, I think he would have probably been okay. So there's Dean wearing the old Rio colors. We got Carl in the First City. Lots of ex-racers or current racers in this group. So kind of exciting. So it looks like we got a little bit of a rise coming here, and this is where separations and selections have been known to occur here. Tony at the front, this is always dangerous because Tony loves to punch it, and if anybody is going to cause a selection on this hill, it's going to be Tony. But everybody is still here. I'm a little tired. My heart rate's up to like 179, and I'm surprised that I'm able to do that. In the past couple of weeks, it looks like I've been able to hang in the upper 170s and still be okay, which, don't know why that is, but hey, I'll take it. Maybe it's just reaching down deep. So I've got a really good wheel here. So sitting behind Matthew, it doesn't get much better than this. And you can see coming up, my heart rate's it's slowly dropping. 175. Yeah, life is good here. I'm dreading kind of going to the front because I know that's going to end. And if I'm up there too long, things are going to pop. But it looks like Matthew wants to do some work here, and me at looks like 270, 260 watts, not able to come by. I figured, let me just sit here and let Matthew keep everybody honest. Looking behind, and this is where things get a little bit ragged here, and you'll notice that people are looking for an echelon that is stringing out that would be across the road. What we should have been here is doing a pure oval. So it should look like two echelons very close where the first and second rider do a lot of the work, but everybody's sheltered. People can look that up. Maybe I'll put a graphic in or something. But having that ovalized, that slanted oval echelon is much better. So anyway, Byron comes to the front to give me some shelter. That's kind of cool. Looks like we have a little bit of that ovalized echelon formed here, which is kind of good. Where there's shelter all the way back in the receding line before you start to actually do some work here. So another effort by Tony, where if I'm pushing 450 watts or so just to stay in, he's doing something up front, and perhaps this would be a way to create some more selection. And I actually like this. I know Tony said he's racing Wednesday. He's got a time trial, and he claims he's not going to work that hard. But dude, you're working pretty hard for somebody who says they're not going to be working that hard. Anyway, so Dean goes super hard here. This is going to cause a split. And he's obviously working for somebody else because it's going to blow himself up. But it's kind of cool. That used to be me. I'd work really hard and then not be able to get back in. But I decided it's much more fun to kind of meter your effort and still hang in. Yeah, and we can see the damage is done. Even Matthew looks like it took a little bit of effort to stay with Dean's punch, and there are people that have fallen off, and it looks like we have the final selection. Yeah, and that effort by Dean, that has popped Joel because he's followed the rules of engagement and decided not to cross the yellow line to stay attached. So Carl up front, First City Team Racer, looking good, and I'm going to sit here, take it easy, and there's the big attack. So Matthew goes right here, and I'm thinking, where was Tony? Tony was behind Matthew, and as a racer, there should be no surprise here whatsoever. He should have been right on Matthew like white on rice, but he slept and let the gap open up. And for somebody who's not racing, or not going hard because he's racing, he's going pretty hard. So anyway, I try to take up some of the chase here, even though technically Matthew's my teammate, and I don't want to run a teammate down. I should make the First City guy chase him, but we're not doing too much of the team tactics here. And even though we are like kind of like teammates, we all got different colors on. So, if it was an ACA race, they'd be like, "Hey, it's illegal to be in collusion if somebody doesn't have an identifiable kit that shows they're on the same team." Anyway, Matthew's checked out, so it just shows how much horsepower he has there, and the rest of us. Looks like we're working fairly well. I've got some decent wattage sitting in, the mid 200s. It looks like 300 happening there, and we've made no ground. I don't know what Matthew was doing up there, but it was like massive, massive. So it's just about over. I'm going with Tony, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. I'm still kind of tired from the weekend. Heart rate's at 179. Maybe I'll just let this one go. Yeah. And that's all she wrote. So it looks like, depending on where you consider the hill to be, and I consider that to be, the end of the sprint. If people want to change the sprint and talk to me about having an official line or something like that, hey, I'd be happy to go out and put some paint on the road, kind of like, or some stones or something that kind of would mark the end. But I think the crest is good enough. Anyway, it looks like a good time was had by all. Welcome to the new riders, and hopefully we'll get to do that again before the end of the season. But it looks like there's snow coming for the weekend. It's going to be like 10 degrees on Monday, so this might be the last Tuesday ride for quite a while. Anyway, hope everybody enjoyed this one. Peace out.